Hey everybody, my name is Brian and I've been asked to show a lot of people how to use the shrink wrap method to make a tumbler. And so, sorry I'm in my basement, hope no one minds, but anyway, this is the shrink wrap that I'll be using. You know, there's different shrink wraps that look just like this, but different heat variances. So this shrink wrap melts at, I believe, 380 degrees. So you have to cook it at the tumbler at 370 for it not to melt to the tumbler. But anyway, I'm going to be doing this image. It's for my sister's softball team. Anyway, let me show you what we need to do here. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut. So obviously the first thing to do is print it out. I used Silhouette Studio for this, and you can see it's a glitter look. So anyway, first thing I'm going to do is get out one of these. If you don't have one of these and you're doing tumblers, I recommend getting something like this, or this one works really well. It's a Fiskars brand. But anyway, so then you're going to line up exactly where you want to cut. I don't know if y'all can see that, but right in the middle there's a little line, and it tells you exactly where to cut onto the tumbler. Cut on the paper. Right, and so you just slide that up. There's that. And then same thing here. It's important on the sides not to leave any white, but along the top it doesn't matter as much because it's going to be above the tumbler. Okay. Sorry, I'm slow at this. Again, top and bottom. The white doesn't matter as much, but on the sides, you need to make sure there's no white whatsoever, or you're going to see a seam even more than you want. Okay. As you can see, absolutely no white, really anywhere is what I did. And so then you can put this thing away. Then I wanted to show you when you take out the tumbler out of its pretty white box, the first thing I do, obviously, after taking everything off and it looks like this, I always take off this little sticker here. It's preference. I don't like selling it with that on there. But anyway, the first thing I always do is I get out my measuring tape and I measure around. You know, when you buy different tumblers from different people, they're all similar, but I want to make sure that this is exactly the one that I expected. So this one's right at like 9.3. You can see that, right? And then height-wise, go straight to the ground like this, and we're at 8.2. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so that's that. And then what I always do is I always keep in my drawer here a lint-free cloth, so that I basically make sure there's no lint or anything on the tumbler. And I give it a pretty good wiping just to make sure there's no fingerprints, no oils, no nothing. And then the most important piece before you get going is to make sure, A, that you did a mirror image, right? So you can see it's backwards. And then you need to make sure that the top is, that you don't do it upside down by mistake. Because if you do it upside down, that's not good. And so then we're going to basically wrap it around. And so I let mine overlap. Some people don't let it overlap that much. I do. You just want to make sure that you don't cover up, like, see that T right there? You want to make sure you don't cover up that T with this paper. So I'm going to put the T on the bottom and let this paper go over it. Right, and what I do is I squeeze really tightly to bring that piece over, and then I hold it like this. And so now it's as tight as can be, and I'm holding it in place. So then I have my little heat tape, and I put it right perfectly straight down like this. Now, the most important piece, in my opinion, is to make sure there's no air bubble in that. So I take my fingernail and just go up and down like this. So hopefully that makes sense. So then I'm just going to do the same thing the rest of the way up. So I happen to have this little brick thing that I use to hold it in place. I don't know what you can use anything. But then you want to get another piece of heat tape and do the same thing that you did with pulling it super tight, right? So watch, if you pull it as tight as possible, and this is gonna be interesting just to show you the way I do it. Not everyone does it the same. I only put the tape, hopefully y'all can see that. The tape's not taped down except for on one side. So now what I can do is push really, really hard. Right, see, so now I'm squeezing the paper tight as can go, and then I seal it. So now it's sealed and it's super tight, and I rub my nail up and down that, and you can see that it's super tight, and there's no way any air can get out. Or so when you're cooking it or baking, whatever you want to call it, when you bake it, if any of the sublimation ink gases or the fumes can get out of the paper, then that's a problem, right? What would happen is you'd start to see like blurriness. It wouldn't be crystal clear, or you'd see a seam right there. So the tighter you can get that, and then the more airtight you can get the tape, the better. So then I do the same thing on the bottom, right here, right? I'm gonna tape it so that it's just on the top layer. Again, I just want to show you that. See how I didn't tape it down yet? So then I squeeze the paper as tight as it can go. I don't know if y'all can see that. And then, see I have a couple little air bubbles there. So then I'd straighten it out. I straighten it out with my nail so you can see no air bubbles. So now if you notice, I have a little piece here and a little piece here. Now, part of the problem is I didn't measure ahead of time, and so my image is a little bit short, but I think it looks perfect because it's right at the very bottom. But this one, you will have a little bit of a white rim on the bottom. Not a big deal in my opinion. So anyway, so the last piece, I'm gonna do the same thing. Put a nice little piece there, squeeze it as tight as it can go, and then push it down. And then on going inside the hole, I just flip that over. I like having that little lip, that little piece inside of there. And you can see I like to have this as flush as possible with the top, so that you don't have any crinkling or anything like that. And I don't even tape the top, I leave it just like this. So now you can see the same thing on the bottom. Just to show you, I put it right here, like that, squeeze, push down, and then I just fold this over like that. So this is, and then I just go over it one more time with my nail, maybe just flatten it like that. Just make sure it's nice and airtight. So now this is the shrink wrap piece. So if you notice, there's little perforations all the way up and down. It's harder to see on camera probably, but right up here, there's perforations all the way up and down, only on one side. So what I do is I line that up with the tape that I just did. Just like so. And then I just go like this, and I make sure that it's as close to that as possible. And then I don't leave a lot of room on the bottom. The bottom I just do about, you can see maybe like a half inch or quarter inch, like that. And then I get my heat gun. Let me move you over here. I'll move you over here so you can see my heat gun going. 1 second. So you don't need one this big. This one gets to like 1400 degrees. Right, I just put it on the lowest setting. This one says 650. It doesn't need to be that. It can be like 200 or 300. But anyway, so then you're just gonna go until it, you don't even need to do it all the way, just so it hugs the bottom, and I'm keeping a tight grip right here so that it doesn't push the container or the tumbler all the way up. But anyway, so now that it's securely wrapped on the bottom, you just slowly go all the way around. And on the top part, it doesn't matter, right? I'd rather have less on the bottom because you don't want it to melt. I'm sure you've heard of people where it says, oh my gosh, it melts and ruins the bottom of my cup or tumbler, and you don't want that to happen. And then just when you set this down, it's gonna, some of them say cool. Don't point it towards anything like electrical wires or anything that's gonna catch on fire. But anyway, so now my tumbler is ready to go in the oven. The problem is I got too distracted making the video and forgot to tell you to preheat your oven. So I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven to 380 degrees, and I will show you in a second. Okay, everybody, my oven has preheated, and you can see I have a Hamilton Beach. You know, I know a lot of people have the Oster French door one. I think that one works great, but the oven you want to have is something that's pretty tall, right? That's not one of those skinny ones that only come to here and you have to lay it down. I think these work better. But one of the things I wanted to make sure is everyone sees I have an internal thermometer here, and you can see it's right at 370, but my thing here says 380, so you can see it runs about 10 degrees lower in there. So anyway, the heating elements are right here, and back here, and then there's some up here. I don't know if you can see right there and right there. So anyway, I'm gonna take my tumbler, and now it is hot, obviously, so I'm gonna take my tumbler and I'm gonna put it with the bottom side facing down, right in the middle. Make sure it's not too close to either of those things, the heating elements. And for those that have a one that says air fry or turbo, I think it says on the Oster, I turn that on because that makes the fan that's over there blow, and I think it does a better job of heating it up evenly. So anyway, I set this for 6 minutes is what I set it for, so I might take it out 20 seconds early now, but you can see it's in there, and it's gonna stay around 360 right now because I just opened the door, but it'll go back up to 370 in a second. And you can see as of right now, you can't really see any of the image. And so the way you know it's done is you'll start to be able to see the image through the paper and the shrink wrap. So I'm gonna flip it after 3 minutes. So I'm gonna push pause and be back in 2 minutes and 25 seconds. See you soon. Okay, you see it's been 3 minutes. So now what I'm gonna do is I like to do a quick rotate like that and then flip. Be careful not to touch anything, obviously. And so you can see it's already starting to show through here. You can see my coach, Jeff, and we're at 2 minutes and 42 seconds. My temperature's still holding good. And when you set it back down, just make sure you don't go too close to either one of those, one of these bars, because then you'll start to see the wrap start to melt if you get too close. And your image, your blacks will be a little brown and nothing will quite look the way you want it to. So I have 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. It's still looks like everything is working the way I wanted it to. And I'll be right back. Okay, you can see that we have about 15 seconds left, and you can see my image really good now. And so I feel like it's done. I was talking for a few minutes while it was out there, and so you can see this is what it looks like when you take it out. Now I have different people say different things. So I see I'm wearing heat gloves. I highly recommend that you get some. Obviously you can't reach in there without them, or without a pot holder or something. But, you know, there's different things that people say to wait for. Some people say wait until it cools off to peel it off. Some people say don't. So the only thing I like to do while it's still a little warm is to get the shrink wrap, if there is any, while it's still warm, to get it off and make sure it's not stuck to this. So I'm going to flip the camera around to show y'all. Okay, so what I was saying is that I like to try to get it off the bottom of the tumbler because that's the hottest. And so some people put a silicone mat on the bottom of their oven so this doesn't happen and it doesn't melt as easy. And different brands of shrink wrap do it differently. So I bought some that there's no way it would melt onto the cup, and there's other ones like it seems like this one was melting a little bit more. So anyways, I just went around real quickly, and I'm not touching the actual tumbler. I'm just trying to make sure that it's no longer touching the tumbler. Actually, say I peeled it off. And part of the reason I leave this tape here is so that it makes it super easy. Now I don't have any nails, but it makes it super easy to peel. And you see I said line it up with that, so it makes it super easy. It's not as hot anymore. It's super easy to peel off this tape, right? And so now you can see it doesn't, sometimes it falls apart like this, sometimes it doesn't. It just all depends on everything. I try to, here's this piece. And then I see how I said wrap this one. So now I can just go like this and it goes straight up. Makes it super easy, right? And then boom, Coach Jeff tightens, right? It feels nice and smooth, no burn. It's a perfect job in my opinion. So you can see it's right up to the top. I told you I left a little bit of a white at the bottom, but I don't think that's really a problem. So just to kind of spin this around and show you what it looks like, I would say it looks pretty good. You can see the seam right there, but it's, you know, there's no white, so it's just a little bit darker yellow where I overlapped. So the less you overlap, the less you'll see that. So then a lot of times, obviously, so you have the straw and the lid, and you put it back in the little thing, and then there's a little rubber stamp. Let me see. Seal coat. I don't seem to have one right now, but I do have one over here, I think, just to show you. Here's another one I made. This was for someone else on the same team. So I'm doing 20 of them for the coach and some of the other people, but this is what they end up looking like. Anyway, thanks for watching. Good luck. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you can, subscribe below. I'll be posting videos on how to make shirts, tumblers, you know, different methods, right? I'll do a silicone wrap on a tumbler. I'll make mugs, a bunch of other things, and really tips and tricks on how to make things work. Thanks. Oh, and check out my Etsy shop. The link is down below, where I sell some of the tumblers and shrink wrap and even the silicone wraps. Thanks. Bye.